Hey everybody, happy Monday. Hope everybody's safe and dry. Um, I know that it's very, very cold where I am. There we go. Um, so if you're on here live, say hi in the chat. I've got somebody who's going to be looking at the chat. Um, and if you're watching the replay, let me know if you're watching this on. Maybe you're watching it on YouTube or somewhere where I'm not live. Go ahead and say hi. Let me know where you're from. Hopefully you have power. I know here in the South we've had a lot of ice and power outages and really low temperatures for us. We're not really set up for that. We don't have a lot of snow plows and we don't have insulation on our pipes and all that kind of stuff. So it just causes a lot of problems. But hopefully, if you are snowed in, you've been able to get a lot done. So let me start with a question. How many things are on your to-do list right now? Be honest. Go ahead and put it in the chat. Just take a guess of, how many um, things are on your to-do list. Or maybe you could just say it's a short to-do list, it's a long to-do list. Um, and let me ask you this. How many of the things on your list have been on there for way longer than you'd like to admit? Or maybe you make a new list each day, but you keep writing the same things. Well, today we're going to talk about why the traditional to-do list actually works against your brain, especially if you're a high achieving, idea driven professional. And we're going to talk about what to do instead so that you can finally follow through without feeling behind all the time. Sound good? All right, let's dive in. Um, so let's talk about some lies that we've been told. We've been taught that if we just write everything down, and I tell people write everything down, but that we'll feel organized and in control. How many of you have heard that? I mean, and it's a little more to it than that, you know? Most to-do lists turn into a dumping ground for obligations, ideas, guilt, and they grow faster than we can complete them. And so instead of motivating us, they quietly shame us. More tasks on your list does not mean more productivity. And writing it down doesn't mean it's going to get done. I do tell people to write things down, but that's not, there's more to it than that. That's not all I say. Um, and when you're busy, it looks productive, but it isn't. Being busy and being productive are not the same thing because you could be busy doing unimportant things or less important things, and it might never move the needle in your business or move you closer to your personal goals. So, the to-do list can be a trap. I'm not against to-do lists. I'm not saying that, but we're going to talk about how to use the to-do list that's in your best interest. So, a to-do list doesn't tell your brain what actually matters today. You know, it just shows you everything that matters eventually. And when your brain sees a long, unranked list, it goes into threat mode. And that's when procrastination, avoidance, or just busy work kicks in. Because when everything on your list looks equally important, either nothing gets done or the least important things on that list get done because they're usually the easiest. They're the low-hanging fruit. And usually the more important things take more effort and they're harder and they're you know, we just don't want to do them. We don't feel motivated. So if there's no prioritization with your list and no deadlines, everything feels equally urgent, and our brain shuts down and we feel overwhelmed. We put it off, or we end up just doing busy work, right? Um, are you with me? You know what I'm talking about? You guys are so quiet in the chat. So let me know. And if you're watching this replay, go ahead and communicate in the chat. I do circle back around and read those comments. So every time you look at your to-do list, you're asking your brain to make decisions. What should I do first? Is this more important than that? Do I even have time? And those micro decisions drain your mental energy before you've really done any real work. Um, you know, when you've just got this long, unranked to-do list, it creates decision fatigue, constant task switching, mental exhaustion, noise, and clutter in your brain. Because you don't really have a plan. You just have this long list, and it's overwhelming. You don't know how much time things are going to take. You don't know which one you should do first. And you've got all these little micro decisions, and it just drains your mental energy before you've done any real work. So, if you're ambitious and capable, your list is never short, right? Because you can see all the possibilities. And the problem isn't that you don't want to get things done. You do want to get things done. That's why you made the list, right? It's that your list doesn't match how your brain actually works. That's the whole premise of my group coaching program, which, by the way, I do have openings for the new year. If you are interested in weekly Zoom accountability, live training, hot seat coaching, plus access to all my past recorded trainings, reach out and I will give you more information. But the problem isn't that you don't want to get things done. It's that your list doesn't match how your brain actually works. And that's what we do in my coaching programs. I help people understand how their brain works, and we work with it instead of fighting against it. Yes, we work on challenges, but we also work on strengths. That's so, so important. But if you have too many ideas, too many responsibilities, too much pressure to optimize, you're going to struggle. And that's why high performers struggle the most sometimes. So the to-do list, it focuses on what you should do, not necessarily what will move the needle. To-do lists don't account for your energy, your attention span, or the reality of your day. And productivity without any context like that leads straight to burnout. So to-do lists track tasks, but they don't really address the outcome, and they ignore your energy level. You're not steady with your energy all day. Maybe you're a morning person, maybe you're a night person, but it's physical energy, emotional energy, mental energy. All of those are things that you need to track, and you need to match your most important tasks to your high energy times. But just a plain old to-do list ignores the context, ignores your energy levels. Okay. Are you with me? All right. So write in the chat what your thoughts are, what your takeaways, what your questions. For one thing, if you are watching this in Facebook, Facebook isn't going to show this to anybody unless the algorithm picks up that there's some interaction. So that really helps other people get to benefit from this training. So instead of asking, what do I need to do? I want you to start asking what actually matters today. So instead of just sitting down and going, okay, what all do I have to do? Think of what actually matters today. A focused daily plan limits your priorities so your brain knows exactly where to aim. You have fewer priorities, clear outcomes, and you're time aware. I encourage my clients to write down on an index card at the end of each day 3 or less, no more than 3, high impact tasks that they need to focus on the next day. That way, when they come sit down at their desk, those 3 things are right there. Now, you may have a lot more things to do than just 3 things, but those are the 3 that the outcome really matters. And the outcome is clear, and there's a time frame, there's a deadline, or a time aim. So If you do those things, they're sort of non-negotiables. If you do those things, it's really going to move the needle towards your goals. If you don't do those things, there's going to be a really negative consequence. So you're looking at the outcome, not just this list of things to do. Okay. And so the prioritizing three or less things a day helps you to really focus in on what's important. Okay. Do you get done with those three things? Then you can hit all the little things on your list. So instead of asking, what do I need to do? I want you to start asking what actually matters today. Now, one of the simplest shifts that you can make, as I said, is just choosing three priorities for the day, called the rule of three. Not the easy stuff, not the busy work, not the low-hanging fruit, um, but three things that, if completed, would make the day feel successful. That at the end of the day, you would feel good about how you spent your time. Even if nothing else gets done, you would feel good. Okay. So, not 15, 30 tasks, not this giant to-do list, not everything at once, just three meaningful priorities. Okay. Um, are you with me? Everybody's starting to think like what would be your priorities for today or tomorrow? Um, and you've heard of time blocking. When something matters, it deserves time on your calendar, not just space on a to-do list, right? Time blocking removes the constant question of when will I do this? And it turns intention into action. Time blocking is blocking off uh, a time frame from this time to this time and having a one focus during that time. So you pick one of those three high impact tasks and you block off time and you write it down and you start exactly at that time. Put away all distractions, set a timer if you need to. That helps many people. And you work on that one thing. You protect your focus, you reduce decision making and create momentum. So time blocking removes that constant question of when am I going to do this? You want to turn intention into action. See, we talked about energy levels. Productivity is not about doing more. It's not the hustle culture, It's about doing the right things at the right time. That's the key. When you align tasks with your natural energy, then follow through becomes easier and more consistent. Deep work should be done when your energy is high. Don't waste your best mental time doing little piddly stuff like checking email and shuffling things around on your desk. That's like using a bulldozer to pull up weeds from your garden. I mean, it's a mismatch. So do admin tasks when your energy is lower or errands, physical errands, but stop fighting your brain. Go with it. When can you concentrate better? I'm a morning person. So, especially with my cup of coffee, I think better in the morning. Now, I mentioned a focused plan. A focused plan helps you stop reacting because you're in control. You're creating the focus and you stop reacting to whatever is the loudest or the most urgent. You get to decide where your attention goes instead of your inbox calling the shots or other people or notifications deciding for you. Cut those off for that focused time. Have fewer distractions, clear boundaries, less guilt. So you're moving from reactive to intentional. That's why I tell my clients don't check your email first thing in the morning because you're starting your day responding to somebody else's emergency instead of you taking control of your time. Because if you don't control your time, somebody else will. That's that's worth writing down. You know, here's the bottom line. If to-do lists work, then you wouldn't still feel behind. What you need isn't more discipline or longer lists. It's a structure that supports your brain, supports your goals and your life. Your productivity problem is not really about how you feel. It's not about motivation. It's structure. And I'm giving you a structure that works. This is not something I made up. This is a proven strategy that works for me and for my coaching clients. So when you shift from endless to-do list to intentional planning, you don't need to get more done. You feel calmer, you feel clearer, and more in control. And that's when productivity actually becomes sustainable. So design a system that works with your brain, not against it. And that leads me to something that I wanted to share with you. I'm going to stop sharing my slides. This is so exciting. For the new year, I have created a new program. I still have my coaching program, which is awesome. And like I said, I got a few, I keep it small, so I don't have very many openings, but I have a few for this year left. And so if you're interested in that, let me know. That's weekly Zoom calls, a member portal with training, on and on. But I have, if you're not ready for that, I have a new program called Momentum by Design. And because it's so new, I'm actually offering founding member prices, which will never be offered again. I'm just doing this for a short time. So instead of weekly Zoom, you get one monthly call with me to check in, accountability, um, live training on topics that matter to you. You get recorded training dropped into your portal every month. You get implementation session on Zoom, and you get either an audio file, a resource, an email, some other form of encouragement and inspiration. So you're getting something every week, but it's it's a little less time consuming. It costs less. It's going to be 97 a month, but right now I'm offering it for 67. I know, crazy. But the better deal too is to pay 497. That covers the whole year, and you get, if you do the math, you get 2 months free doing that. I'm also offering a bonus if you do that, where you get a free one-on-one with me, a coaching session, which is normally $250 or more. So, and there's 4 or 5 other bonuses. So I would love to invite you to be part of this new exciting thing that I'm offering called Momentum by Design. Let me know in the chat if you want more information. I'm excited about it. It's filling up, and I look forward to seeing who all jumps on board before that price goes up. The pay in full is going from $497 to $997 very soon. So now's the time. And I hope you guys have a great rest of your day. Let me know in the chat what your questions are, what your takeaways, your ahas, and I will see you next time. Bye.